Hello guys, welcome to today's session. And in this session, we'll be starting with our chapter, The Living World. Okay, a very small chapter, easy also. And if you talk about NEET, so majorly one question comes from this chapter, and sometimes they used to skip also. Okay, but it's easy. It will take only 45 minutes to finish this chapter, so we'll continue. Okay, so welcome to VLC Telugu channel, and we are doing our NEET crash course at VLC Madhapur Center. So if you are interested to join, you can come to our centers also. Okay. Now, guys, the living world, we'll start with the basic things. First, what are the characteristics of living organisms? Okay. Now, if we talk about characteristics of living organism, that means how we can define that a thing is living. So, basic thing that comes in our mind as a student, that we used to say that they will show movement. Okay, which is kind of a right thing also, but if you talk about a car also moves, but that's not a living organism, right? So there are certain characteristics which are very specific, and that we can say it is shown by only living organisms. Okay, you might be getting answer of growth also. So growth is characteristic of living organism. Now, growth, if you talk about mountains, so when snowfall happens, mountains also increase in size. But can we consider mountain as living organism? No. So there is a reason for that. The definition of growth, okay, should be known properly. Now I will show you one slide that will mention all the characteristics which are considered as majorly basic feature of living organisms. So here we have consciousness, metabolism, then we have growth, cellular organization and reproduction. Now out of all these characters, we can say 5 characters. Not all are the particular characters of living organisms, or we can say specific character of living organisms. There are certain characters which are shared by both. I should say growth. Like I gave the example, it is shared by both, right? Living organism also non-living organism. If we talk about this thing, reproduction, okay, reproduction we used to say that it is shown by majorly living organisms, correct, fine, okay. But there are certain organisms which are, we can say asexual and sexual. I'll give example later on. Metabolism is characteristic feature of a living organism. Okay, metabolism, that means reactions of cell. It is not shown by everyone. Okay, if we talk about consciousness, it is also characteristics of living organisms. Non-living organism does not show consciousness. Let's start one by one. If you talk about growth, growth is what? It is defined as what? Increase in mass, okay, or we can say volume, okay, or size of living organism, or anything can be considered as growth. But can we say this is correct definition of growth? Increase in mass or increase in volume, or let's say increase in size also. Is it correct definition of growth? It is not exactly correct. For a growth, we should say any irreversible increase. Okay, any irreversible increase in size, mass, volume can be considered as growth. Like in case of humans also, guys, we used to say that we are growing up to certain age, then we are going towards aging. When we are growing, you have seen or you have felt also that your body mass, okay, your size is increasing. When we are going towards aging, our muscle mass, body mass, that size is going to reduce, right? So any irreversible increase in mass can be considered as growth, to be very appropriate. So living organisms, they show growth, okay, to be exact, but up to a certain age. Non-living organisms, if we talk about mountains, okay, they used to grow when there is a snowfall, they increase in size, but when snow melts, the size decreases. So that is not considered as exact same as growth, but fine. In terms of increase in mass, we used to consider that as growth also. Now, growth, guys, it can be of 2 types. It can be intrinsic, it can be extrinsic. Now, intrinsic means internal, extrinsic means external. When growth occurs from inside, that will be considered as what? Chief characteristic of living organism. If we talk about extrinsic growth, it is shown by our non-living organisms. Don't need to think of too much. And one more thing I want to say, this is a crash course, right? So I'm assuming you know the basic things, so I'll be a little bit fast, right? So intrinsic growth that is occurring from inside, it will take place in case of what? Living organisms. Okay, you can take example of human. And if you talk about extrinsic growth, it can take place in case of non-living organisms. Okay, just for the basic idea, I'm mentioning here also that intrinsic means what? Internal. Okay, that growth occurs from inner side. Extrinsic means when growth occurs from outer side, or we can say simply external, right? So growth is what? Increase in size, or we can say mass. You can see any increase in size or body mass can be considered as growth. All living organisms grow. Increase in mass, increase in number of individuals are twin characteristics of growth. Very important. Increase in body mass and increase in cell number. When we were small, we have how many cells? Let's say when we were very small, we have thousands of cells, or let's say lakhs of cells. Now when we are this much big, we have millions of cells. So increase in number, it represents what? It represents growth. Very important question, it always comes in NEET exam, that what are the twin characteristics of growth? So increase in body mass and increase in cell number. You can write somewhere in your notes also, right? One more thing, guys. In case of unicellular organisms, increase in cell number is considered as what? Reproduction also. Again, I'm repeating, guys. In case of unicellular organisms, increase in size or increase in number of cells, not size. Increase in number of cells is considered as what? Our increase reproduction also. Why? Because let's say we have one cell, it will divide to become how many cells? 2 cells. But this is unicellular, so this will also act as independently. This will also act as independently. You can take example of amoeba also. Amoeba divides by binary fission. So it is dividing, it is increasing the cell number. From one amoeba we are getting 2 amoebas, but it is unicellular. It can act as independent identity. So for that, it can be reproduction also. So very important second point, that in case of unicellular organisms, increase in cell number can be considered as reproduction, right? Now, next important point, twin characteristics of growth are increase in cell number and increase in our what? Body mass. Here you can see the picture of image Hulk, very popular character. It is growing, increasing body mass, but the body mass increasing is not permanent, so I cannot consider as a proper growth. It becomes green Hulk, then becomes normal human being, right? So that growth is for temporary period of time, so that is not considered as growth. But yes, just for the animations we have shown it, that body mass increase is considered as growth, right? Next slide, if we come here. Now guys, in case of plant, if we talk about growth, it takes place at specific points. And I know that you guys are very, very intelligent. So at the point where growth occurs, that point is called meristem. Okay. So meristematic regions are there where growth takes place. And in case of plant, growth is continuous. Okay. Throughout the life it happens. And that type of growth is called what? Indefinite growth. So that we will cover in plant growth and development. No issues. So that type of growth is called what? It is called as indefinite growth also. In case of human beings, the regions of growth, they are not specific. Or in case of not human beings, animals I should say. In case of animals, the regions of growth, they are not specific. It takes place throughout the body. But it does not occurs throughout the life. Because if growth is occurring throughout the life, then we will never die. At certain point of time, the rate of catabolism increases compared to rate of anabolism. So, like I said, in human case, sorry, in animal case, growth is seen up to certain age. Okay. After that, we move towards age of aging. Next, guys, like I said, non-living organisms, they can also grow. Okay. They have given example of sand dunes. You can take example of mountains also. Right? But obviously, like I said, in case of non-living organisms, the growth will be what? extrinsic, not intrinsic. Very good. So same comparison we have covered over here also. In case of living organism, growth is from inside, that is intrinsic, and in case of non-living organism, it is extrinsic. So therefore, growth cannot be taken as defining property of living organism, because growth, it can take place in case of our non-living organism also. Okay, so a big myth that has been busted, a very important fact that growth is not a defining property of living organism. Okay, let's come to next characteristics. Our next characteristic is reproduction. This point already have been covered, so ignore it. Chalo, fine, it's okay. So if we talk about reproduction, there are two types: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Like I said, in unicellular organisms like bacteria and amoeba, they reproduce through binary fission, okay, which results in daughter cells. And these daughter cells, they act as what? Independent individual. So in case of unicellular organisms, this is what? Increase in number of cells is considered as what? Growth also and reproduction also, right? I'll come back here. Reproduction, guys. I'm not going into this part that what is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, because if you don't know, okay, up this age, so it is not good for us. Just for the basic idea, asexual reproduction one parent, sexual reproduction two parents. Asexual reproduction exact copy, and sexual reproduction में genetic variations, right? Sexual reproduction, gamete formation; asexual reproduction, no gamete formation. So can we consider reproduction as a characteristic feature of living organism? All living organisms, they do not reproduce. You know the answer very well. Again, I'm repeating my point, and I'm writing here also. All living organisms do not reproduce, right? There are certain living organisms only that participates in reproduction. Got it? Not certain, I should say. Majority of them, yes, participate in reproduction, but there are certain organisms which do not participate in reproduction. For example, if we talk about mule, okay, mule is a hybrid which is formed by female horse and male donkey. We used to get what? A hybrid, that is mule. Now, mule is a living organism, but it cannot reproduce. It is sterile. So, obviously, it cannot be the defining feature of our living organism, right? If we come to one more example, you can take example of honeybees. In case of honeybee, we have three categories. We have queens, we have workers, and we have drones. Drones, they are formed by parthenogenesis, and they do not form gametes, or they cannot reproduce, right? So drones are getting formed how? Parthenogenetically, asexually. So living organism is formed by asexually, or just by the divisions only. So my point is right, and they do not participate in reproduction also. Or let's say in case of if you talk about our this thing also, honeybees, queen and drones, they fertilize and workers remain as it. So drones, first of all, they are forming how? Parthenogenetically, and workers, female workers, they do not participate in reproduction. They are a result of reproduction, fine, but do not participate in reproduction. So that example also you can take. Drones, so they are forming what? Parthenogenetically. So my point is very simple, that there are organisms which are not showing what? Reproduction in their life cycle. Okay. So it cannot be considered as defining property of living organisms. Now we are left with three things: consciousness, metabolism, and our cellular organization. These are the defining property of living organism. Okay. How? Any living organism will have cell, right? We have covered cell theory, and in cell theory we have mentioned multiple times that each and every organism will be made up of cell. Metabolism is what? Chemical reactions taking place inside the cell. If a living organism will have cell, that organism will definitely have what? Metabolism. So metabolism and cellular organization are defining property of a living organism, including consciousness. Living organisms, they have consciousness. They can respond. Okay. Every living organism, they can respond. There is one more term. It is consciousness, and one is called self-consciousness. Consciousness means, yes, we are aware, or let's say we are aware. Self-conscious means we are self-aware. Only humans are the mammals, or humans I should say, mammals also you can include, but majorly human being, some mammals, but majorly human beings are the animals that shows what? Self-consciousness, right? No other organism it shows self-consciousness. Next point, if you talk about this thing, self-consciousness means what? Self-aware, means you are aware about yourself also, that what I am going to do, what about my future. Have you ever seen other animal, let's say normal, a dog, dog is thinking about future, I want to become a doctor, I want to crack NEET exam. There is no self-awareness. They are living, they are having fun, that's it. Okay, but human beings, because of the self-consciousness, we are the race of multiple things. By the time I'll do this, by this time I'll do this, and finally my life will be settled, which never happens. But fine. So I'm just saying that if we talk about self-consciousness, it is seen in case of humans. Okay. So basic points what I told you up to right now. Yeah. First, growth is not a defining property of a living organism. Reproduction is also not a defining property of a living organism. Twin characteristics of growth are increase in mass and increase in cell number. Reproduction it cannot take place on all living organism. For example, you have taken off mule, okay, and female workers, they also do not reproduce, right? Second thing, if you talk about metabolism, consciousness, and cell organization, they are what? Defining property of living organism without any exception, right? And one more thing, in case of unicellular organism, increase in cell number represents what? Reproduction also, right? Fine. We'll come to next part, guys. Like I told you, exceptions. This exception we forgot. Infertile couples, they are also living organisms, but they cannot reproduce. So like I give example of workers bees. Worker bees, they do not participate in reproduction. Only queen bee participate in reproduction. And males, they are formed parasitically, that is different concept, fine. But worker bees do not participate in reproduction, right? We have mule also. Yeah, we have mule also. Okay, it does not also participate in reproduction. So these are not the defining properties, only three properties are there, that is our defining properties. Okay. Now guys, let's come to next part, that is our binomial nomenclature. I will not waste too much time here because it is not required. We will finish this chapter as soon as possible. First thing we are saying is binomial nomenclature. It is given by our scientist what? Yeah, correct. Carolus Linnaeus. Here we technically understand how to name the different type of plants or animals, and why we are using this, because we have millions of plants and animals, okay, and in native languages we have multiple names for them. In India also, the mango is called as okay, some mamadi pundu, multiple names are there, right? But we want what? A unique name. Like for you also, your friend have some special name for you. Your school name is different, and your home name is different, and your friends got some special names for you. So obviously you will not be called by those names, home name and friend's name in the school. Okay, you want something specific. So every organism has to be called by a single name which is universally accepted, and that is done with help of binomial nomenclature, right? So to avoid confusion, we are giving what? Scientific names. Okay, what are the basic things? First of all, if we talk about organization, International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, it gives plants for it gives names for plants. International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, it gives name for animals. Very small thing we sometimes used to ignore. International Code of, right? So when they are asking about expand ICBN, then we have to select for. When they are asking about expand ICZN, then we have to take care of, right? Because sometimes they will give International Code for Zoological Nomenclature, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, and multiple things. So as per NCERT, we will go with International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Got it? Fine. Basic rules, guys. What are the rules? Okay. So binomial nomenclature, okay, it will include what? Genus name and species name. Very important point. It was given by Carolus Linnaeus and it was published in the first time in his book. Why? In book System or Systema Nature. So they can ask you that globally, okay, different names of plants and animals was published in which book? So Systema Nature. Okay, and they can ask you other way also, that Systema Nature is book of which biologist? So I can say Carolus Linnaeus, right? So what are the features or what are the steps that we have to use here is, see, Latin names are always used because Latin language is now what we can say it is fixed. There are not many changes in case of Latin language, right? For example, in English you can say synonyms, right? Nice, good, okay, better, and all whatever things are there. Multiple synonyms you can use, but in Latin all things are fixed. There will be no change, no addition of new words, no deletion of words. Okay, so it is a fixed language. Second, it will be always written in italics. When we are writing it, we have to write in italics. First word, it should be of genus. Second word, it should be of species. When we are writing this thing, one more thing. The first word denoting genus starts from a capital letter and the species starts from a small letter, right? If you talk about, if you have to mention author name, okay, which scientist has given the name of that particular plant or animal, so author name will come in the end, okay, in short form, okay, and first letter it should be in the capital of author. So if you talk about same thing, if in case of Mangifera indica, so genus name capital, indica is species name, I'm starting with small, and this is our author name Lin, okay. Or author name is not required to, you can remove it, author name we do not write usually. So Mangifera and indica, and we have underlined both the words also when we are writing it, okay. So one thing I want to correct here, okay, written, it should be, yeah, printed, as I mentioned here, written. When it is printed like in your books and all, so it will be in italics. When it is written, it is underlined. And one more thing, guys, it has to be underlined separately. You cannot underline it together, right? So separately you have to underline it. If I'm writing it like this, Mangifera indica, and I'm underlining it like this, it is not correct, okay. So you have to make it separate, yeah, like this, and first name of genus should be in capitals and the species first letter should be in the smalls, right? Few examples they have given, Mangifera indica and all, Felis domesticus, okay. I think not anything is other thing is required. So in case of binomial nomenclature, they will ask you one thing, that why it is required. So obviously you can say we have millions of organisms, so we need a specific name for one particular organism, or we can say plant or animal, okay. That's why we need what? A nomenclature for them, right? Second thing, who gave the binomial nomenclature? Carolus Linnaeus. Fine. Third thing, first time it was published in which of his books? Systema Nature, right? What are the basic features of our binomial nomenclature? It will be in Latin language. When it is printed, it will be in when it is printed, it will be in italics, right? When we are writing it, genus name should come first, then species name should come, right? Genus name, the first letter should be capital, species name, it should be small, and we have to underline them separately. Okay, this it is given here is incorrect because they are lining it completely together. There should be some space between Felis and Domestica. There should be gap in the lines of Felis and Domesticus. So, yeah, here you can see it is printed in the slides, so it is written in the italics part. Otherwise, we would have underlined it. Sorted? Yes, guys. So, next part, and I think it is the last part also because our taxonomic aids part is deleted. So, we have to focus on these things. So, next part we have is taxonomic categories or hierarchies. Okay. There is one thing I have understood multiple times, that there are students which are always confused between taxon and category. Taxon and category. Okay. Multiple times they have the same confusion that what is taxon, what is category. So by the end of this topic, when we are covering all the things, this thing will be sorted. Okay. First of all, guys, taxonomic hierarchy. Hierarchy means levels. Like we in our family also we have generations. So lower hierarchy is son, then father, grandfather. Hierarchies, right? So we are talking about taxonomic hierarchies. We have made different groups, okay, to place animals or plants separately, okay, or according to their characters. So if we talk about taxonomic hierarchy, what is the sequence? So obviously we start from what? A simple trick, that is keep pot clean, otherwise family gets sick. So obviously keep means what? Kingdom. Pot means phylum. Phylum we use in case of, I'll change the color, it is not working properly. Yeah. Phylum we use in case of animals. In case of plants, we have division. So in case of plants, we use the category of term, we can say division. Keep pot clean, it will be class. Then we will have order, obviously, then family again. Then we have genus, and last one is species. Okay. When we are moving towards upper side, that means when we are moving from upper side of the hierarchy from lower side, the number of common characters, it reduces. How it reduces? Very simple thing. If you talk about species, right? So you can take about example of humans. Okay, let's say Homo sapiens or sapiens, Homo genus sapiens, or anything. You can take example of dogs also. Dogs, when you compare, let's say one Labrador, okay, with one golden retriever, right? So dogs species are kind of same. They will share more similarity, right? When we separate them, if we talk about dog, like for example, let's come here. I have the good examples. Just a minute. Yeah. So see, we have Panthera tigris and we have Panthera leo. Okay. So if we talk about this thing, they kind of, but tigris and leo, they are different species. They are not giving same species. It's okay. But this is our tiger and this is our leo is lion. Species are different, but genus are same. If we talk about Panthera tigris, let's say we have Siberian tiger, right? We have Indian tiger, we have Bengal tiger, multiple tigers are there. So different type of species of tigers, they show what? Same, we can say, morphological features. Okay, so species are the ones which shows same morphological feature. First point. Second point, they can reproduce. Tiger species, they can reproduce between them. Same species can reproduce between them. Tiger, it cannot reproduce with lion. Or if there is a possibility, for example, if tiger is reproducing with lion, you might have heard of liger. The offspring is not fertile. When two same species reproduce, the offspring we get is fertile. When different species reproduce, there are chances, first of all, we will not get the offspring, or if anyhow we will get the offspring also, it will not be fertile. So species, they can reproduce. I am talking about tigers only, different type of tigers. Same thing, you can take example of lions also. Multiple type of lion species we have. So different lion species they can reproduce, but lions cannot reproduce with tiger. So tigris is different species, lion is different species. So species, they have most common characters. Now we came to Panthera. Panthera is genus. So they have the same genus, that is Panthera. So obviously the common character, earlier in species we were saying what? They can reproduce. Right? Now we will move in genus. Obviously one feature will be lost, that they cannot reproduce. Number of common characters got reduced. Let's say up to genus we had 10 characters, but in species we had 11 characters. Which one is 11th one? That they can reproduce, right? And they have what? Fundamental similarities and morphological features, same morphological features and all. But when we are talking about genus, now we lost two features. They cannot reproduce, okay, and they will not have fundamental similarities. So similarly, when we come to family, we lost one or two more features. So my point is very simple. When we are moving up towards hierarchy, the number of common features they reduce. When we are moving towards lower side, the number of common characters increases. Or in simple terms, you can say, if we talk about kingdom, we have two kingdoms, Plantae and Animalia. Okay, or if according to our biological classification, Monera and all. Right now, I'm talking about Plantae and Animalia only. So as if we talk about Plantae, it will include what? All the things that are capable of forming their own food, and with the one which will have cell wall, right? If we talk about Animalia, it will include all the things that depend upon other organism for the nutrition and they don't have cell wall. That's it, nothing else. But if we talk about in case of kingdom, if you come about Animalia, okay, after Animalia we'll have the what? Phylums. So if you talk about Poriferas, right, coelentrates, cnidarians. So Poriferas, they have few more common characters. Coelentrates, they will have more common characters, right? Then we have our this thing vertebrates also. Okay, so Chordata, we can say Chordata is our phylum. Then in chordate phylums we have multiple what? Subphylums also. Okay, Hemichordato, this thing, Cephalochordato, Urochordato, and then we have vertebrata. So vertebrata is our this thing. In vertebrata we also have classes also. In classes we have more common characters. We talk about amphibians, reptiles, fishes and all. So very simple point, then we are moving downwards. Number of common characters, they are what? Increasing. Upwards it is decreasing. Now species to, we can say, kingdom. We don't have to learn families, but what is important for us is we should know all the examples which is given in NCERT. Super important. Species, if we go to genus, we have to define genus. We can simply say group of species showing same features, they will be considered as genus. They will make genus. So if I come here, you can see higher level of taxon than or category than species. Now here also they have mentioned what? Taxon or category. Again confusion. Yes, guys. So here also we are given taxon or category together. Okay. So again we are confused that whether species is a category or taxon. I'll come to that part later on. As of now, ignore it. Comprises group of related species which has more characters in common in comparison to species of the other genera. Okay. So the species which have common characters, they will be coming together and they will be making what? Genus. Aggregates of what? Or in simple terms we can say aggregates of closely related species. So Tigris and Leo, they are forming or they are coming under Panthera. Tuberosum and Melanogaster, they are coming under what? Solanum. Okay. Similarly, group of related genus, they will make what? They will make family. You can see here group of related genus with less number of similarities as compared to genus and species. So when we are moving up, number of similarities they are reducing. Families are characterized on the basis of both vegetative and reproductive features of plant species. This point I'll discuss later on, but you can see Panthera, okay, and they have fine Panthera, okay, and this is our Felis. So Felis is a genus that contains small cats. Panthera, it contains big cats, like you have seen right now only Leo and Tiger. Here we have small cats, but they both share what? Same family, that is Felidae. So Felidae is our cat family. There will be one more family that is called Canidae. Canidae is our dog family. Okay, so I'll come to this point. Just want to show you. Okay, just want to show you here. You can see there is a Felidae, cat family, Canidae, dog family, or we can say wolf. They both are what? They both share one common feature, that is they both are carnivorous. They coming under order Carnivora. Right? So Felidae and Canidae. Similarly, order Carnivora. Okay, other one you can take, might be possible it will be herbivores. Okay, or anything. I can come here. Yeah, actually I have taken Primata. So order Carnivora and Primata. Primates, okay, mammals, or we can say monkey-like organisms, carnivores, okay, and then they coming under what? Class. Phylum. So Mammalia, it comes under phylum what? Chordates, right? Chordates, Poriferas, and other phylums, they come under kingdom Animalia. So groups of related genera, they will form family. Related families will form what? Order. Related order will form class. Class will form phylum. Phylum will form kingdom. Right? Now, what important things we have to remember, I want to tell you. Like for example, here there was mentioned that in case of plants, we observe what? Both vegetative and reproductive features. Reproductive features means obviously flowers, how many petals are there, ovary superior and inferior, right? And if we talk about vegetative features, obviously how many type of leaves are there, parallel venation, okay, or reticulate venation. So vegetative features means we are talking about root, stem and leaves. Reproductive feature means we are talking about what? Our flowers characters, right? So in case of plant species, when we are talking about our this thing categorization, we take both features into consideration, right? Next thing, guys, this is one more example of plant. We have genus Solanum, we have genus Datura, we have genus Petunia. They all come under Solanaceae. Why? Because if you see the flower of all the genus, they will have 5 calyx or 5 corolla, right? So pentamerous type of condition they used to show. That's why they're coming under Solanaceae features, Solanaceae family. Now, here order we have discussed, assemblage of families and all, okay. Then if we talk about this thing, if we talk about family Solanaceae and family Convolvulaceae, it comes under order Polymoniales. Important. So my point is very simple. Definitions you will be able to remember, right? What you have to remember? The examples. And examples nothing extra. Whatever it is given in NCERT, that examples. I think the table is not here. I'll check how it is here. Fine, no issues. Then if we come to this Example of animals I've already shown. Okay, and then phylums done. Phylums we have what phylum, chordata and all, and they will phylum will lead into our kingdoms. Okay, this table guys, it is very important. They have given common names of man, housefly, mango, wheat. Now what you don't have to learn, that I will tell you, and what you have to learn, that you have to make it, right? If we talk about man biological name, we remember Homo sapiens. Musca domestica, it is given in animal kingdom also. Mangifera indica we know, and Triticum aestivum we also know. So here our genus is covered and species is covered, right? Homo sapiens, obviously mammals. So class will be what? Mammalia. And mammals, human beings, they have spinal cord or notochord. So they will be what? Chordata. And primates, okay, ape-like organisms. So order Primata. And family is Hominidae. So what we have to learn in case of humans? Only family. Phylum we know, class we know, okay, kingdom we know, everything we know. Only family we have to learn. Housefly, Musa domestica, it is insect, so it will come under what? Arthropoda. Arthropoda includes what? Insects, na? So it will come under arthropoda, or class is what? Insecta. So only these two things that you have to learn. Mucidae and Diptera. Muscus, you can remember Mucidae also family name, and only order Diptera you have to learn. If we come to wheat, Triticum aestivum is fine. Wheat belongs to angiosperms, and wheat we know very properly. Wheat is kind of a grass, and grass are monocots, right? So two things here also we don't have to learn. What we have to learn is order and family, Poales and Poaceae, right? Poaceae family we will covering in our morphology also. Then if we talk about mango, mango is our again angiosperm, but it is dicots. So in majority of cases we try to learn all the things, which is not required. Only you have to learn what? Order and family. Sapindales and Acardiaceae, right? So don't try to focus on the entire table, try to learn the family part and order part. You will be able to solve all things properly. Sorted? Go through the table guys. Okay, so like I said, by the end of the things, I will tell you difference between category and our taxon. See, taxon, it represents what? The name of group. Okay, for example, if I am talking about here, yeah, very nice table. If you talk about, let's say, Homo. Homo is what? Taxon. If we talk about Mammalia, it is what? Taxon. If we talk about Chordata, it is what? Taxon. If we talk about category, Mammalia belongs to what? Class. So class is category. Chordata belongs to phylum. Phylum is what? Category. Group names, very simple way to remember it, because sometimes they used to give questions on taxon versus category. So very simple way to remember it. The major or the main terms, it represents what? Taxon. That terms, they belong to which group will be category. Mangifera, taxon. Genus, category. If we talk about Poaceae, taxon. What will be the category of Poaceae? Family. Right? So biological unit, main biological unit represents taxon. The group to which they belong represents category. So I hope I'm clear with this. I think this much is there in the chapter. Taxonomical 8 parts is related, so we don't have to go there. Okay. Try to go through the NCERT after this lecture. It will be easy for you. Okay. One thing I want to cover here. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. That I can cover in biological classification also. Yeah, here. Taxonomy, guys. We are reading this chapter and all, so we should know the meaning of taxonomy. Taxonomy, what we are doing is 4 things: characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature. Okay. So taxonomy, first of all, we have to characterize. We have to see the characters. then we have to identify. Okay, then we will put into the groups, and then we will do what? Nomenclature. So all these branches, okay, it includes what? It includes taxonomy. Oh, sorry, it forms taxonomy. And taxa is scientific terms for categories. That's why I wanted to come to this point here. Taxa is scientific term, or we can say biological unit for category. For example, mammals is taxa, and for category it will be what? Mammal belong to class. So again I am repeating, characterization, identification, classifications and nomenclature. These four things majorly forms what? Taxonomy. You should know the sequence CICN, okay, or we have double C's, so you can simply mention CHICN, okay. Whatever you want to make the trick and all, you should make a trick for this, and you should remember the sequence properly. Characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature. Or CICN is also fine, because you have to remember first one thing. Whenever you find a new animal, the first thing you will do what? Characterization. You will see the characters. You will not directly go for okay, okay, we have identified the organisms. No, what you will see? You will see the features. Then you will identify it. Okay, these are the features we have identified. Now after identification that this organism has more similarity with this particular group, you will do what? Classification. You will put that organism in particular phylum, in particular class or order, or we can say genus, wherever it is belonging. And finally you give the names. Logical. We have seen the animal for the first time. We will do what? First of all, we will see the characters, right? Then we will do the what? Identification. Okay. After knowing all the characters, finally we have done the identification, and then we will do the classification and then nomenclature. So with this part, this chapter is finished. Okay. We'll come with more lectures tomorrow. So as of now, see you later.